I left my roommate's maggot-infested oven on her parents' doorstep after she abandoned it in my apartment. About 2 months ago, I took in my friend Sarah after she broke up with her boyfriend and had to move out of their shared apartment. Since I have a guest room, I offered to let her stay with me temporarily. We agreed that she'd pay for her own food and help with household chores. The food arrangement worked fine, but the housekeeping was a disaster from the start. Initially, I had some sympathy since she was dealing with a fresh breakup and probably wasn't in the mood to clean. But eventually, her mess was driving me crazy. Her stuff was scattered everywhere. Dirty dishes piled up despite an empty dishwasher, mountains of laundry, and hair all over the bathroom. We had several conversations about it, but nothing changed. I was already close to kicking her out when the incident happened that will probably be burned into my memory forever. I wanted to bake a cake, so I opened my oven to find it completely infested with maggots. Right in the middle was a casserole dish with what used to be some kind of pasta bake that had been sitting in my kitchen for over a week. I had specifically asked Sarah to throw that disgusting mess away. Instead of disposing of it properly, she had apparently just shoved the casserole dish into my oven and forgotten about it. The maggots had spread throughout the entire oven. Since I rarely use my oven, I hadn't noticed until I went to bake something. I called and texted Sarah immediately, but got no response. I closed the oven door and taped it shut, hoping she'd come back to deal with her mess. But she never returned to the apartment, and when I got home from work the next day, all her belongings were gone. The maggoty casserole was still in my oven. Another friend told me Sarah had moved back in with her parents. That's when I made the decision that probably makes me the villain in this story. I decided not to even attempt cleaning the oven since I had no idea how far the contamination had spread. Instead, I bought a new oven and figured out how to remove the old one using YouTube tutorials and very thick gloves. I wrapped the infested oven in heavy garbage bags, loaded it into my car, and drove to Sarah's parents' house. I left the oven on their front doorstep with a note that read, "I'm returning your daughter's pets." A few days later, I found an envelope with $400 cash in my mailbox. No note, no explanation, nothing from Sarah herself. From what I've heard through mutual friends, her parents paid for the replacement oven and there was apparently a huge fight at their house about the whole situation. I feel terrible about involving her parents, who obviously had nothing to do with this mess. They didn't deserve to have a maggot-infested appliance dumped on their doorstep, and I probably would never have gotten any money from Sarah directly. The whole incident has become a topic of debate in our friend group. Some people think what I did was justified, while others think I crossed a line by dragging her parents into it. Looking back, I realize I probably handled this in the worst possible way. Sarah's behavior was absolutely disgusting and irresponsible, but taking my revenge out on her innocent parents was petty and unfair. I could have disposed of the oven myself and sued Sarah in small claims court, or at least tried to contact her parents to explain the situation before showing up with a biohazard. The whole situation shows how quickly a living arrangement can go from helpful to toxic when one person refuses to take basic responsibility for their actions. Sarah's complete disappearance without addressing the mess she created was cowardly, but my response was probably just as immature in its own way.